Yeah, and I'll see you guys later as well. So I just finished that with Top Rope Wrestling Talk, and what are you waiting for? We're gonna record ours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all species, welcome to our wrestling perspective. That wasn't even a proper click. Hold on. That's a proper click. If you want to make it your wrestling perspective, guess what? You're like, oh, what have you got in store now? Listen, all you need to do is add Y to our wrestling perspective, and that makes it your wrestling perspective. A bit up here, I'm telling ya. But this video is a continuation like every other video. This video is our weekly perspective, episode 9. Yeah, we have done 9 episodes. Well, if you technically count 0.5, but we're not going to count 0.5 because that's a 0.5. But episode 9 will be looking at the whole week of wrestling from the 29th of March 2020 all the way up to the 5th of April 2020. I know, you're like, wait, are you including Wrestlemania in this one? No, Wrestlemania is a big one. It's too big for one video in this video, so it's going to have its separate video. See, you like that touch? But we will be including MLW. It's a compromise, okay? But before we kick it off, yes, you're like, why are you wearing this beanie? Fine, I'll take it off. It was just my hair was all wavy and it's a bit cold. With no further ado, let's start off with WWE and their programming. What is the Monday for you but the Tuesday for me in Australia? We're talking about Monday Night Raw. See, I'm getting a hang of it now. Let's look on to what points stuck out to us. First point being, did you see Austin Fury? He has made his way with Angel Garza and Zelina Vega. There is nothing that is going to stop the momentum of Austin Fury.
Nick Minute Montez. Look out! Oh, God!
Oh, damn. The second point for Monday Night Raw that stuck out to me. Did you see that Undertaker promo? Woo! We're seeing the return, the proper return of the dead badass, or it's a mix of all characters. We're getting Mark Calloway, alright? He's so vicious, he flipped the table last week, but this week he got in your face and he's like, a boneyard match? That's what you asked for. But whenever he looks at that bandana, there's like so much resemblance to a bit of that Mr. Bean nose and all that. I'm like, no, but he's the dead man and he's scarier than ever. But it still doesn't answer my question. What the hell is a boneyard match? And third and final point being for Monday Night Raw, Edge has confirmed he's not a junkie, so everyone calm down. He has lived off the motivation and the passion that has driven him for years that Randy Orton is lacking. And that really hit home because you're seeing how Edge is just doing the crazy eyes and you know something's going to go down. And in this last man standing match, like he said, he's been through thumbtacks, he's been through tables with fire, so I don't think a Viper's going to stop him. Now after Monday Night Raw, we move on to the Wednesday Night War. On that Wednesday, between the Black and Gold brand NXT and the All Elite brand All Elite Wrestling. I always say this, you can love all professional wrestling, but sometimes in the week you may have a preference in what you watch. Maybe it may be the Black and Gold brand for you that did it this week, NXT, or was it the Elite brand on TNT, AEW Dynamite? Well, let's find out. We do 3 points up against each other from each show, and what were those points? Starting with All Elite Wrestling on TNT, we're talking about that Dynamite. First point that stuck out to me since I mentioned TNT, we're talking about that TNT tournament and the 8 people that have been announced. I was pretty shocked at the 8, but my pickets, I'm just doing a quick little prediction that I'm going to see, well, we're going to see Darby Allin and Lance Archer in a final. Yeah, I reckon, ski. The second point that stuck out to me on All Elite Wrestling Dynamite was none other than Chris Jericho doing his promo from La Palace of La Champion. And what happened? Vanguard flew through the sky, and his feud with a drone, I reckon, is better than what his championship run was. You can fight me on that. I'm loving this feud with a drone. This whole, just give it a whole year of Chris Jericho and the drone fighting each other, and give them their own cinematic like exit where they're both in like a burning building, and he's like, "What you gonna do now?" And See, I've just got too many wild thoughts. And the third point that stuck out to me, Lord Jesus, did you see Lance Archer's debut, how he just pegged Marco Stunt? What? Like it was said by the community of Top Rope Wrestling Talk, they haven't seen someone get pegged like that since what? Bam Bam Bigelow in ECW. It was a nice touch. And having Lance Archer team up with Jake the Snake, that Jake the Snake is controlling this version of the Tyrant. Yes, I know, I'm a Resident Evil fan. And then he comes in all angry and just destroys stuff. You know what? I'm a big fan of this. Now moving on to the black and gold brand, NXT. What was the first point that stuck out to me? First point that stuck out to me, Biven Enterprises. It's just hilarious. Honestly, you see these two big behemoths with none other than Malcolm Bivens himself. And Malcolm Bivens, he has this eyesight. Like he's all serious, because he can be all serious when he has a force, a dominant force like that behind him. Even when they're talking, usually I'm used to the very casual, soft Indian spoken voice. But the way that they spoke, whew, they're gonna destroy people. Second point that stuck out to me was none other than the Chosen One debut, the real Chosen One, the one that was on Undercover Boss, and Stephanie McMahon got to be an ambassador. But now Jake Atlas has debuted on NXT, even though he lost. See, the dog got angry that he lost. Even though he lost, it was good seeing him there. And there's a lot of things to come for that individual, I'm telling you, a lot. And third and final point, we are talking about that triple threat match where Keith Lee retained his North American Championship over Dominik Dijakovic. Wait, no, I have to do it in a Mauro Ranallo voice. Dominik Dijakovic and Damian Priest. What a match. You know what really confuses me? Alright, you're gonna hate me for this. But you see the NXT Championship and the height comparisons to the mid-card and the heavyweights, whew, it's noticeable. But it just makes that NXT North American Championship more prestigious than what it usually is. Well, it was always prestigious, but by having all these big guys going for it as well, it's a nice mix, honestly. And that match, fantastic. But it got me shocked. I thought Keith Lee was going to lose it and move up to the main roster. But he could still move up to the main roster, huh? Ding-a-ding-a-ding. So who won the Wednesday Night War for me? Was it NXT or was it AEW? Well, it was All Elite Wrestling Dynamite on TNT. We're talking about AEW All Elite Wrestling on Dynamite TNT. I had to repeat it twice. I don't know why. But they did win it for me this week, but only by a little smidget, honestly. But yeah, and NXT did a good episode as well, but I don't know, I preferred AEW's episode this week, and apparently they got in trouble with the law. Why do I keep stuffing up that theme? But we're on to the Thursday one for me. We're talking about NXT UK, to the wrong part. So what were the 3 points that stuck out to me in NXT UK? All 3 points were about the Battle Royal, so let's get into it. First point being for NXT UK, I love Alexander Wolf's, like, his setup, his plan for the whole Battle Royal. Everyone's getting into Havoc. He's just there waiting in a corner. He's like, I'm just going to let this all go past me. You know why? Because once they've left, I can do what I do on the mat. That is sacred. The second point, when it finally got down to the final four, that whole transition, it was spectacular. They were all punching each other, but how it worked out, it started with like a couple, yeah? Two punching each other, then they bounce into each other, then another two are punching each other, then they bounce into each other, then another two are punching each other. I'm like, this, what happened? It's, yes! The final point that stuck out to me for NXT UK is when Ilya Dragunov finally sealed the deal and he won that Battle Royal to seal that he is now the NXT UK Championship #1 contender. See, I was going to stumble up on my words there. You see me looking up to the sky. I don't even know where I was looking. But with Ilya Dragunov finally going after Walter, when that match finally happens, the hard hits that's going to happen into that. And if you go onto our Facebook on Our Wrestling Perspective, you see a photo of when Walter chopped him right where the neck was. If he didn't, You know they can smack some vertebrae in there and it's no good for you. I'm telling you this now. Now on to the blue brand. We're talking about Smackdown on Fox. And what stuck out to me, you had 5 points for this one. Yeah, more points than what Raw had. And you're like, why does this have more points than Raw? Listen, I'll tell you why it has more points than Raw. You just got to listen in. First point being, apparently Tamina, yeah, she just destroyed through the whole women's 5-pack contenders / champions in there. Hold on a quick second. Oh, yuck. Second point for Smackdown on Fox. It is confirmed it's Braun Strowman versus Goldberg.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Third point being for Friday night Smackdown on a Fox, the hacker is not revealed, but he reveals the truth out of the Otis and Mandy Rose date. This whole build-up was for the hacker to reveal it. I thought the hacker was going to be something else, but the hacker's motivation was the Otis thing. Like everyone else, he's really behind Otis. He puts justice. Justice. See the fist? Justice. But it is revealed that the hacker, he does with his little hand movement, does little from his hand movement, does with his hand movement straight onto the laptop, and we see the lost footage of Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler architecting this whole situation to unfold like it has currently. Oh, you're a naughty Sonya. Very naughty. You know what the whole thing is out of this? I wouldn't... At least there's closure. Fourth point being for Friday night Smackdown, it's on Fox. That whole Shinsuke Nakamura versus Daniel Bryan match, and even the segment after it, the whole thing. Sammy on commentary. The segment after it when Bryan and Gulak got bashed after it. And when Sammy ran up and did that kick, and he was just, he was living in the moment. He said it was so good. And fifth and final point for Smackdown on Fox. Yeah, I keep repeating the name of what the brand is, the blue one. We're talking about that Cena and Fiend promo. It sent the shivers up my spine, honestly. The whole way that they made it look like the edit of their two separate entities, and how you had all the Muppets or puppets on the side. The Muppet Puppets? The Fuppets? No, that's a weird name. But it seemed like the Cena of old, even though there wasn't a crowd there, you could feel his emotion through that camera when he was saying this will be the time that he will squash Bray Wyatt. And listen, you're not to, alright? You're not to squash him and then walk away and leave us with garbage. Fiend stays. You go back with Van Diesel, alright? Now, after all that WWE programming, I know there's a lot of WWE programming, we're moving on to other wrestling. Now, with Impact Wrestling, let's see what the 3 points were that stuck out to me. First point being, we see another addition to the Amazing Knockouts roster / women's roster, whatever they want to categorize themselves as, because it's an amazing division as it is, and they have signed another amazing talent in Kylie Ray. I nearly stuffed that up. Kylie Ray has officially gone in a backstage promo segment with Jimmy Jacobs, who Jimmy Jacobs didn't seem too excited for. I thought for a backstage announcer finding out that news, you'd be jumping up in joy. But anyway, Kylie Ray said that she calls, guess what? Impact Wrestling home. I'm liking it. I'm doing the whole jump like what she did. Relax. Second point being, when we're talking about additions to the divisions, and guess what? We saw now a new formation of a new tag team of AC Romero and Larry D. This is big collective unit. I don't know who's going to stop them. They're like two brick walls, and they're going to walk into the tag team division and just destroy. When all the tag team division, don't get me wrong, they got some body guys extravaganzas in there. You see what I did with All Ego and Josh Alexander, but other guys, you've got the Desi Hit Squad that aren't to the size of AC Romero and Larry D, not even Rascal. So it's going to be interesting when you see AC Romero and Larry D finally getting to the tag team division. And last point being, Sami Callihan finally leaves OVE, but in the weirdest way ever, after he ripped the promo saying, I see everything, after OVE is take everything and What? But he disappeared. Get this. He disappeared when he brought up his phone and he pressed the button and he just vanished. He went all to black and Madman Fulton was like a lost puppy. He's like, no, where's my owner? It's raining, so that means only one thing, that we're moving on after Impact Wrestling to TNA Wrestling. And just like the TNA Wrestling, they had the intro full of their megastars but never delivered on it. Just like a classic TNA. It hit home. Honestly, even though it was kind of tragic that the homecoming of TNA got postponed, I'm kind of happy that it got postponed and not cancelled. Hopefully it's just postponed to the point where we get to see it later with the Ultimate X and all that. But let's talk about TNA Wrestling. Let's go back, I know, into TNA Wrestling. And what were the 2 points that stuck out to me on this special 1 hour episode of TNA Wrestling after Impact Wrestling? First point being, did you see Manic and Suicide team up? It reminded me of that Spider-Man scene where they're both pointing at each other. They're both the same Spider-Man, and it's really confusing, yeah? Okay, I get that they're pointing out that TJP is Manic, but they did a whole transition from Suicide was turning into Manic. So it was kind of like all evolutions of TJP were there. The only thing that was missing was the actual real-life TJP in character as TJP. And then there you go, you got the evolution of TJP in that match. Second point being, and the final point being for TNA Wrestling, I'm not even including Steiner Math because that whole thing, even with Joseph P. Ryan coming in, it was... There's only so much you can thrash the Steiner Math. I got a bit carried away there, but the actual second point for me for TNA Wrestling was that Raven promo just based on the Clockwork Orange match. See? They're onto me. They already know how good it was that they messaged me. It actually sent shivers on my hands, goosebumpies. It was good seeing Raven back in that type of promo for it, even though it was announcing and just advertising the rules of a match. And it's fun if you want to go in the way that it was doing it. Whew, it was great. We're talking about MLW Fusion. We're moving on to that. Yes, we're actually including it in this episode. What were the 3 points that stuck out to me? First point being none other than the Dynasty. I can't stop praising them, honestly. The whole Richard Holiday has really come to his own. Before the, I know it's bad to say, but before the whole MJF alliance, you saw that there was something there, but he wasn't giving the whole confidence out. And now since he has his boys with him, it seems like he's come into his own element. The whole AirPod God and that, the way that he does a lawyer slash father. Say, if you did the slash with me, you know what I'm talking about. But that whole Dynasty, Second point being for MLW Fusion, it was a backstage interview. I needed to do this with Felicia Adout, or what her MLW name is, I kind of forgot that. But her Mace Warner backstage interview where he was filling it with F-bombs, S-bombs and everything. It actually seemed, alright, cool. This is what makes him completely different from the stereotypical smash the beer cans and do stunners. Yeah, I'm not going to compare him to that because there's no comparison, okay? Mace Warner is in his own little category of hardcore swear, F-bomb swearing, S swearing. I like it. And that whole promo, whew, I want to see more of that Mace Warner just dropping profanity everywhere and not giving it a stuff. See, I was going to say a rude word there, but I didn't. Thank fuck. Third and final point for MLW Fusion that stuck out to me was the empty arena match. Loser leaves town. It was the Southern Psychopath, Old Man Warner, up against the elitist himself, MJF. That match, oh, even... yes, it was probably the best MLW match I've watched so far. And you're like, what? Yeah, listen, just all the elements to it, even though it was an empty arena, everything seemed like it got used. It was the teasing of the referees. It was MJF trying to call a cab, trying to get away from Mance Warner. Mance Warner catching up to him, grabbing that phone and saying to the cab guy, no, he's not going to need you because he just got hit by a chair top. Oh, but that was our weekly perspective, episode 9. Yes, episode 9. We've gone this far. We've done that many episodes. We're not counting the 0.5 to stay alive. We're talking the episode 9 is completely done. If you like that video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And if you want more of this, guess what, people? All you need to do is hit that red button. You know what that red button is? That's a subscribe ski. Well, it's just subscribe, but I like to add the ski at the end because I've been watching a lot of Money Heist on Netflix. Yeah, that's a really good show. And last but not least, if you want to stay up to date with everything that we drop, be sure to hit that notification bell. Not just hit it, bang that notification bell. And also just a quick shout out, if you didn't watch our trailer beforehand, I did a sneaky little cameo all the way in America. You're like, how can you travel in this isolation? Listen, it was a bit of a call ski. Loophole, that's exactly right. But what else can I say? WrestleMania's today as well. Video will be up soon. Whew, wish us luck.